She's incredibly well prepared. I mean, immaculately well prepared. And you might think that someone who does that would be thrown by a sudden shift in exactly the way the scene is going to be shot and the dynamics of the scene. That you, instead of standing in the middle of a field speaking, you're in a pond with your hair wet, with mud all over you, that kind of thing. She loved it. You know, she's just such more than a trooper. I mean, she really, it wasn't as though she did it dutifully. She did it with great exuberance, and you can't buy that. You know, I mean, it's just an actor really has that to give you or does not, and she really does. I must say I had the same experience working with her that I had first with Vigo, which is that I knew that she was good, but I didn't realize that she was brilliant, and she is brilliant. I mean, she is a brilliant actress. She's as good as any actress I've ever worked with, and I have worked with some of the best actresses in the world. Otto Gross was a physician who was being trained by Freud, and Freud at first thought that Gross was the one to lead everyone into the future of psychoanalysis because he was considered really, in a way, the most brilliant of them all, even more brilliant even than Jung, maybe even than Freud. But of course, he had a fatal flaw, which was in a way that he was a hippie. I wanted the movie to be sensual and beautiful as well as intellectually stimulating. It's also funny because these men and women they did have a sense of humor, and they were not hesitant to use it either on attack or for egotistical reasons and so on. There was a lot of sparring amongst this quartet of people, and it's a lot to deliver. But of course, it was all there in Christopher Hampton's script, so up to the rest of us to realize it on screen. A period piece for a costume designer is exciting and terrifying, you know, and especially once again when there are many photographs of Freud and Jung in the clothes that they would have worn at certain periods in their life, to replicate that. And it's a very subtle thing. I mean, my sister Denise has worked with me for many years, creating costumes for my movies, but I don't think we've ever done. Naked Lunch, in his own strange way, was from the 1940s and 50s, a period piece. But we've never. I think she's always wanted to do a massive period piece, you know, and this movie is that, despite the fact that in some ways it's very intimate. I don't really know when I start making a film what the dynamics of it will be, and what scenes will catch fire and be sort of the scenes that people remember. You just know that they're very juicy. You know, there's great texture, and these people are so interesting and intriguing, and their lives are so complex and passionate that you just know that along the way there's going to be, you know, sparks struck. And so there are actually many scenes, I must say. I mean, I think the movie has many scenes that certainly delight me and surprise me. And it will surprise people who think they know something about Freud and Jung. These people were incredibly intellectual and charismatic and articulate. They were also very passionate, and their passion came through their articulation and their theories and their abstract thoughts, and really quite fascinating people, and a fantastic story. It was a mentoring relationship. Jung thought of Freud as his father figure, and in fact called him that many times in letters and so on. And so it was very intriguing to me to come across a story about Freud and Jung that also involved a woman who until the 1970s was very little known, named Sabina Spielrein, Jewish-Russian woman who was a patient of Jung's, with whom he had an affair, and then under his tutelage became interested in psychoanalysis, and then ultimately became a Freudian analyst and went to Freud. So it was a strange menage a trois. Not that she had any sexual relationships with Freud, but still there was love in each part of the triangle, including between Jung and Freud. There was incredible affection and friendship between them. And Sabina was sort of in the middle of that. Viggo is, he's fearless. I mean, once he's committed to do a role, there's nothing will stop him, from doing it immaculately and with great depth. Stéphane Dupuis, who won an Oscar for my movie The Fly that many years ago and has worked with me many times, and every morning he would cook up a new nose for Viggo, a Freud nose. But it's incredibly subtle. It's not an exaggerated thing. It's just enough to make Viggo not quite be Viggo. And for an actor, that's a gift as well. It allows him to disconnect from himself, his own physiology, and to become another person. I really felt that Michael was a gift, because once again, you need someone who, with that mustache, with the glasses, feels like Jung, as we know him from at least still photographs of the period, and his bearing, and his use of language. And Michael was, I think it's really a magnificent, beautifully subtle performance that will, well, you hope people will recognize the range that Michael has.